Right, Rachel, it reads like a movie script and a horror movie script, that when you detail all of those things that were missed.
Please report anyone with a skin rash or other symptoms immediately.
What I'm trying to say
It may not be easy to maintain calm in the city. All city hospitals are reporting cases testing positive for avian flu.
Note the same skin rash and other symptoms of both these cases are identical.
data shows the death toll could increase exponentially. The city must be shut down.
Launch Operation Clean City now. And we'll be segregated after camp.
All the infected people, they're being shot and killed.
Simply can't afford to live this. Is the only chance we have.
I think you could take care of me for a bit.
Over 2,000 people an hour are dying out there.
Mom, why are you here?
We don't belong here. Come on. I'm doing this for us all.
You're doing this for yourself!
I've got you. Let's go find your mom.
I left my daughter back there. I'm going to get her back.
As President Biden met with Communist Chinese President Xi in San Francisco last week, we learned about pathogens labeled HIV and Ebola that were found inside of a secret illegal Chinese-owned biolab in California. This illegal Chinese immigrant pleaded guilty for mislabeling medical products after the feds raided his lab filled with these deadly viruses. And now Congress members, including our next guest, are accusing the CDC and the FDA of not regulating private labs. GOP Congresswoman Ashley Hinson sits on the committee focusing on the Chinese Communist Party, and she joins us now. Congresswoman, so great to have you on. What a troubling story. I mean, what do you think is happening here? Because apparently this is a Chinese citizen, a fugitive with links to the military in a secret lab with all these deadly pathogens.
Right, Rachel, it reads like a movie script and a horror movie script. That when you detail all of those things that were missed. And I think the most troubling thing is you mentioned the fact that he was able to obtain these pathogens. We want to know how he was able to obtain these pathogens. How was he able to get away with running a lab, getting millions of dollars sent to him from the Chinese Communist Party, and then obviously coming into our country, stealing American intellectual property. This is a man who truly was working for the Chinese Communist Party and had the intent of defeating the American aggressor. That's what he called it. So we have some real questions as a committee here. The FBI and the CDC really dropped the ball here in terms of investigating not only this illegal lab, but now we wonder how many more labs like this exist in the country. So clearly we have some work to do to make sure we're prepared, because we know China is doing everything they can to constantly undermine us. And this is just one of the ways they're doing that.
This is terrifying. By the way, we've had 22,000 Chinese citizens that we know of illegally come across our border. And, you know, they can't just leave their country, right? They're clearly here with permission from the country. Are they creating these kinds of labs and sitting here waiting to get orders from the Chinese communist government? What is happening? And why are we treating Xi as a dignitary when he has his citizens here, putting our own citizens in lethal danger?
Right. Well, it's a true slap in the face to Americans. Number one, the Newsom administration and the Biden administration really rolled out the red carpet for President Xi. A genocidal dictator came to town. They cleaned up San Francisco, did a parade that was fitting for a hero's welcome, and then hosted him as a guest of honor at a bougie dinner. Meanwhile, in Reedley, California, we're busting an illegal biolab. So again, our committee is going to be diving into this. We've issued a report specifically on the Reedley lab about the failures from the FBI and the CDC and what needs to happen going forward. But at this point, we do have more questions than answers. They had over 1,000 migrants mice that were designed to transmit COVID. So this administration needs to hold China accountable for its role in spreading COVID around the world. And it's very clear of their intention here, Rachel, which was to do more damage to our country. They want to be the dominant military, economic, socio-superpower by 2049. Again, they continue to try to undermine us, not only by stealing our intellectual property, but by trying to hurt Americans.
And I'm just thinking, this was in California just last week. The whole state was blanketed with Chinese flags for Xi's entrance into San Francisco. Do you feel like our government, as this story came to you, do you feel like the government is like getting into action? I mean, I have to believe that Joe Biden knew about this lab when he, greeted Xi last week.
Yes. Well, and I think it's very concerning. Clearly, we have moved from strategic competition with China to diplomatic appeasement.
As President Biden met with Communist Chinese President Xi in San Francisco last week, we learned about pathogens labeled HIV and Ebola that were found inside of a secret, illegal Chinese-owned biolab in California.
Right, Rachel, it reads like a movie script and a horror movie script.